and welcome to another Round the Rotary podcast with me, your host, JP Warren. And I got to say before we begin that Round the Rotary podcast is brought to you by Capital Petroleum Consultants. CPC specialized in project engineering, well site supervisions in all disciplines of the oil and gas industry. Contact us through www.capitalpetroleumconsultants.com to see what CPC can do for you today. And I'm pretty pumped about this podcast because we are recording this at the Petroleum Club of Houston, and I think this is the third one we've done here. And first off, the setup's so cool. Everyone's been so friendly, just allowing us to set up here, and I'm pumped. And we're doing two today. We're kicking one this off this morning at 9:36 on May the 4th be with you. That's today.
That's right.
And across from me is a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Allen. Otherwise, aka Jeff Allen.
That's right. Only my mom calls me Jeffrey, so that's
when you're in trouble.
Yeah.
That's when you're in trouble. So he's the president of the Young Professional Association at Petroleum Club of Houston. So that's kind of an added bonus. We're kind of doing this in your office.
That's right. We are sitting in my office,
which is the Bengal Bar.
That's right. Of the Petroleum Club.
I love this bar, by the way.
It's great.
It's unbelievable. It's got that old school feel to it. Kind of exclusive, but it's not. You know, people can come up here.
Right.
But it's definitely a cool scene.
But also the view. I mean, when you're working here and you have a view like this, it makes every day a good day. The people.
It's kind of sad. You look at the old Petroleum Club too. You know what I mean?
You know, that's a sad part. You're right. We've actually wanted to break in there and throw parties, but I'm sure the asbestos would kill us.
But you know what? But this is the same thing though. Like in the oil field, it's this day and age, it's evolve or die. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I know the Petroleum Club got moved over here several years ago, but. Yeah, sure. You know, we remember the old one. We respect it. It's very nostalgic, but I guess it was time to move on.
Yeah, it was. And Exxon certainly thought it was time to move on, so we had to move on with them. And I think we did a phenomenal job coming over here. The location, the Total building, I don't think it could have been better. The build out, like you said, the bar is really the keystone of the whole area. It's great.
I mean, if
you like smoking cigars, this is the place to smoke.
Yeah, and the thing is though, if you don't like smoking
we got
cigars,
the ventilation.
The
system.
ventilation.
You're great.
So is this like an oil? Okay, I'm gonna ask you kind of like an oil field rumor right now.
All right,
Maybe I've heard it. And people might be listening and be like, "This guy's an idiot." But anyway, I'm fine with that. I've been called worse, and it's probably true. But anyway, isn't it true that someone apparently when they were, building this out, the Petroleum Club, Houston, all that stuff, and I guess it was a new building, and they were like, can't smoke in here. And I think there was I heard that there was a member that was so committed to burning heaters. And he's like, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pay $100,000 for this ventilation.
It was more than that, but yes, that's true.
First off, what a cool, I don't know who that was, and you don't have to disclose that.
I won't.
But I think that's so cool. It's like, hey, I'm that committed.
Well, let me segue or jump off. The club is a private club.
Yeah.
So we're not Club Corp or anybody like that, which makes us, I think, more flexible. We can do a lot of things that we want.
Oh, okay.
If you've got the dollars and you want to change something up or add to it, a lot of our members have done that over the years. So we're very flexible because we're a private club. We make our own rules.
So we make our own rules to be broken. So, hey, I think the first time I saw you was a couple weeks ago. I think the Petroleum Club of Houston posted a story on Instagram, and you were sitting actually at the same spot with a mutual friend, Justin Gauthier, right?
Great guy.
I'm not sure of how exciting that podcast was for you, how business it was, but I'll tell you
didn't
what,
listen to it then,
we're going to change
you didn't
it
listen
up.
to it? Thanks.
Is it released?
Actually, I don't know. No, it's not released. Justin's slacking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Bite my tongue.
And then we also had a conversation with with Sherry Fontenot. Sherry Fontenot, the member director of membership over here.
She's the queen over here.
She crushes it over here. Not only that, she was actually she's doing a tour. She's going to potentially do a tour for a potential member. And she was talking to this person about it. It's like, oh, we're actually doing a podcast up there. You ever heard Around the Rotary? And the guy's like,
loved it. I thought he said he loved it. I thought he said it was his
I was
favorite.
going to say that for the podcast, but no. But anyway, no. But it's definitely cool how it's kind of there's more people coming in and getting involved, and there's more people joining. That's kind of one of the reasons we're sitting here today because I want to hear about you, but I also want to talk about the Petroleum Club.
Always, I love talking about this place.
Well, I love being.
I've been a member here since I was a little kid. I used to get in a lot of trouble at the old Petroleum Club.
So I'm guessing you're second generation oil field.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Hey, why don't you peel us out of the gate?
All right.
Give us a little background. Where you're from, and how you're at, where you're at today.
Born and raised right here in Houston, Texas. Born and raised.
What high school did you go to?
St. Thomas High School, Memorial and Shepherd.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, great place. Ended up going to UT San Antonio.
All right.
Came back.
What did you study at UT?
Geology.
Okay.
got a degree in geology. I wanted to do business, and my dad said anybody can learn business, get a real degree, which meant math or science. That was my dad's.
I'll tell your dad, thank you for insulting me 20 years later.
My dad has a PhD in geophysics and a bunch of other intelligent things.
So wait, so he was oil field as well.
He actually wanted to go in the priesthood, believe it or not, and dropped out of that, I think, when he found girls, and then.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant you did.
No, not me.
Dad. Okay,
my dad wanted to be a priest at one time in his life. Then he was actually a huge hardcore hippie. He hitchhiked up and down the West Coast, during the DNC and all that historic Vietnam War.
You know what? I think that's like I hear stories about that. Like my wife's, mom or parent, whatever it was. Like you just hear stories back in the day. It's like, oh yeah, we used to hitchhike. You do that now.
Yeah. Oh no way.
Oh, these little kids come home when the street lights went on. It's like now it's like you can't even let them outside in the backyard without. Like social services getting called, or child protection getting called on you these days.
For sure. So yeah, he has a fascinating story. Came from very poor farming family in Wyoming. They kind of moved around their whole life. Instead of going to Vietnam, he went back to school, and he said, "Well, I'll just get a PhD in geophysics." That's how smart he is. He's just like, yeah, whatever.
School came to him.
Yeah, no big deal.
Okay.
And
are you the same way?
No,
I'm not either.
School, I could not wait to get out.
Okay.
I could not wait to get out into the real world.
All right.
He ended up getting hired by Exxon, moved to Houston.
Okay.
My mom is from upstate New York, a small town. You know upstate New York?
Well, I'm from Connecticut, so I'm going to pretend like I know it.
Okay, there you go. Messina, Madrid, Watertown, all those.
Yeah.
Syracuse, like all those small towns up against the St. Lawrence River. Like she's from all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she moved to Mexico to go as far away from that as possible at one time in her life, and then moved to Houston, and they met, and
So
now I'm here.
So your dad was Exxon, so that was
He was
probably
a geophysicist.
That was probably the original building.
Oh yeah, right there.
So you used to go. So tell me about that. Growing up as a kid, going to these old school functions.
Well, at that time, when he was a member of or an employee of Exxon, they didn't allow employees there. That was only for the C-suite, like top of the line people.
That's
when
cool.
he went out on his own, he started his own company, and that was back in the day. Like people don't really understand the oil business. The oil business was a bunch of gunslingers walking around downtown with their briefcase full of maps, saying, "I know there's oil here. Give me your money so we can go drill it."
Wearing suits in 95-degree weather.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that. 3-piece suits.
I love it though.
Yeah,
I'll bring it back.
Don't do that.
Bring it.
Well,
back.
at least we have really good deodorant these days, so it might be okay. But I don't want to be in a room full of smelly oil men.
Well,
maybe you do.
Well, I mean, if they got rigs coming in, yeah, I'll be in that room.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Good point. So he went out on his own. That was very cool to do back then in the late 80s or mid 80s. And his first deal, he sold it over the table 100%, which means, it's going to cost this much to drill it. I want this much up front, blah, blah, blah. The company took it over the table. That's when you used to be able to walk in anybody's office because everybody was looking at deals. Everybody was hungry to drill wells. And then, the downturn in the 80s happened. And he started a company called Main and Mertz with Michael Puzio, a phenomenal geologist, and they ended up running the hackberry trend. That's in North America there's a lot of different trends in exploration, and that was one of them. And they owned that. And my dad's whole pitch when he came out of his own was Exxon was using AVO seismic technology. AVO, for those that don't know, is just a hydrocarbon indicator. Like you're looking at a 3D seismic and something really bright on the map, and it's oil or gas, and that's an indicator.
Thank you for explaining that to the people that don't know that are listening.
I try to make that very simple. There's a bright spot,
including the host. Go on.
They're called bright spots actually, and the Exxon said this can't be done onshore, only offshore, and he said you're wrong. Left and used that technology in the hackberry trend with Michael Puzio, and they killed it, knocked it out of the park.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a great story about this industry as a whole. You have two sides of the street. Well, now 3, but back in the day, everybody was conventional, straight hole drilling. But you had majors, Exxon, and you had independents like Main and Mertz. And the industry was really built on the backs of a lot of independents. I mean, Hunt, for example, even though it's a big name, they were considered an independent.
Right.
And these majors, whether it was California Resources or Exxon, they would go into an area and then leave it, and the independents would, pick it apart and find all the stuff that either wasn't big enough for them, but for Exxon, but big enough for the independents.
So Exxons were the lions, and the independents were like the little jackals coming at the end.
Little hyenas.
Hey, there's still meat in the bone.
Oh yeah,
I'm with you.
But that's enough meat to feed a lot of families.
I'm with you. Okay.
So over time, all these different trends in North America, mostly the Gulf Coast, were just blazing. They were just on fire, and there was a lot of competition. And he started another company, Sovereign Oil and Gas, with another gentleman that was successful. That was international. They did a lot of work in Africa, and then he started another company, JLL and Exploration Ventures, which did well.
That's so interesting. Not to interrupt you, but interrupt you. That's one of my superpowers. I'm really good at interrupting. But it's so interesting to hear because, you hear people working at Exxon and all that stuff, and great team over there, great crew, very, very smart people over there. But it seems like there's that stereotype, like, okay, well, I'm at Exxon, I'm going to be here till I retire. Like, it's a good spot. It is, but just for someone to kind of be like, all right, like, not only go out and start a business, but to do a great job, be very successful, but continuing to start business. It just seems very against the Exxon mold, I guess, back in the day.
And back in the day, you had, now the people that are in their 70s that I've been able to call mentors my whole life that are independents, they all started at, maybe it was Exxon, maybe it was Shell or some larger
Standard
company. Anybody. And they had that knowledge and that education, and they applied that for their own business, ended up doing pretty well. Right. Some of them did well. And that's why I'm also president of Houston SIPES chapter. SIPES is a society of independent professional entrepreneurs in oil and gas. So
okay.
If you're a member of that, you have to own your own business. You're pretty much a buyer or seller of deals, and everyone in there is drilling wells or buying production.
Can you repeat that just in case people are kind of listening?
Go to SIPES Houston, SIPES Houston.org. Okay. So there's chapters all over the U.S., and they're all independents, which means they own their own company. They're the ones making decisions to buy production, or I'm going to hire this drilling company. It's just entrepreneurs.
So not to kind of go off on a tangent, but dude, it sounds like you're not only you're over here. I mean, so you're not just the pull it up, the YPE,
YPA, Young Professional Association,
YPA director. But you're also president of this. I mean, and you also have another job, right?
The one that actually pays me,
the one that actually pays you. And it's just like it's kind of cool talking to someone that's, I guess, getting involved and taking these leadership roles. I
have to. I don't know. It's a terrible thing.
Why? Have you always been that way?
Yeah, I have to. If I'm a part of something, if I like something, I want to be involved.
Okay.
I love the Petroleum Club. Like I said, I was a little kid running around. My mom was pulling my ear, and I was just being a little hellion. But I love the industry that we're in, the oil and gas industry.
So growing up, your dad you're like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I was very lucky to grow up in the office and seeing it from beginning to end. And when you're an independent, you're not just a geologist. Like you said at Exxon, like I'm going to work my whole life in this one little piece of the puzzle. But if you're an independent, you have to be very knowledgeable in everything, whether it's engineering, landman, everything.
You have to wear multiple hats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got to see that growing up, and I definitely wanted to take advantage of that and learn as much as I could.
Do you have a lot
of people I was around?
Did you have a lot of good friends, I guess, growing up in the oil field, like your dad's whatever, your dad's friends, like kids and all that stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm still friends with a lot of them. James Mertz of Mertz Energy, phenomenal guy. He's a listener. He loves
time listener.
Long time listener. I think he wants to be a sponsor, actually.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think he wants to sponsor this. He's a phenomenal, intelligent guy. Just, you want to work with good people. And in any industry, there's risk. There's a lot of risks in oil and gas, but you don't want to have your risk being who you're involved with on the business side. So for me, it's the team.
You know
it's
what?
The people that really are exciting.
But that's an excellent point. I mean, in this, your name and your reputation is something that can't be replaced.
Right.
Especially in our industry. It's a small industry. It's very tight. It's gossip gets around. We love gossiping. We love burning capital and gossiping. That's what we're good at. But it's true though. It's like if it's a bad product or a bad service and all that stuff, you better be honest if you're sales and tell the truth, because your name matters. Or if you're an engineer, or if you're whatever position you're in, if you're not doing things honest and ethically and treating people the right way, that's going to get around. And at the end of the day, that's a tough reputation to shake if you aren't treating people correctly.
For sure. And when I went out on my own in 2016, I had to figure out who I was going to do work with, and there was a lot of service companies, but one guy named Bobby Perez, I grew up with him. He's just, I've known him forever, and he's a solid, best kind of person. I would trust him with my kids. I don't have any. And I said, look, I'm going to hire you. I don't even care. I know there's other competition, but I just trust you. And that's the number one thing you can sleep at night. He's not going to screw you over. There's not going to be upsells or anything like that. I like to work with people that I can trust outside of the industry as well.
I completely agree with that. I love hearing that too.
That's also like Justin Vandenbrink. I'm very happy to have a close circle that we support each other in the industry for sure.
So I guess let's go back to your dad. I mean, he's starting all these companies, being successful, and you're growing up in this environment. You're going to the old school Petroleum Club in the Exxon building. You're loving it and all that stuff. So you decide you want to get in the oil and gas industry.
Right. Yeah, I went to school, got a degree in geology. I really wanted to do business. I didn't know what I wanted to do, like most college kids.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with geology.
Yeah.
The professors I had probably are the biggest help for that. But I mean, we get to go, half your classes are outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
We went camping all the time.
Yeah,
That's fun.
We had Laura Palmer Fiddler on and she was the CEO of a Century Natural Resource, and I think she's the CEO of an energy funder. She's come back on the show, but she was a geologist too. And she's like, yeah, half the class. I mean, I think she went to Colorado, and like half the class was like outside in Colorado. It was like, how bad can that be?
Oh yeah, like your last class or second to last class is just called field camp, and you take all the things you learned and you apply them out in the field. So a lot of people go to Montana. That you can go anywhere. I went to Ireland because I wanted to study abroad. And
Really?
all my sisters got to study abroad, and I didn't. And I was like, I'm saving it.
Where in Ireland?
We were on the west coast near Galway.
Yeah. Okay.
It's great. That's my favorite part of Ireland. I've been many times. The west coast is where it's at.
Are you Irish?
I am. My mom's side of the family is 100%.
It doesn't Guinness taste better over there?
Oh, it does.
It's weird. I mean, and you've been in the Guinness factory, I'm assuming.
I did not go to the Guinness factory. But
that was a flex. I was flexing on you a little bit. But no, it doesn't taste better over there?
It does.
It's
100%.
Yeah.
I would have one at breakfast, lunch, and then several at dinner for sure.
It sounds like a problem, but it's not over
not there.
I dig
not
it.
there. It's just called, you know what it's called? Cultural love.
Yeah.
I just want to support your culture. I'm here. If that's what we do, that's what we do.
I'm not going to come to Ireland and disrespect your culture by not having a pint of Guinness.
Right. And
pint of the black
whiskey,
stuff.
And some whiskey.
Well, yeah, that's before breakfast.
Yeah, that's what you brush your teeth with.
It's before breakfast. So around the Rotary.
I tried to be really cool. My mom is really cool. I try to let her know I'm cool too. And so during the freeze, I didn't have any water, and I used wine. I had a ton of wine. I used wine to brush my teeth, and I texted my mom. She's like, "Yeah, I've done that a lot. Why is that? That's not that cool."
First
I was
off,
like, God, she's cool.
That is a pretty cool move.
Yeah.
She's a listener too of the podcast, by the way.
Loves it. When she walks, she does her walks. I mean, this is her
all she listens
go-to.
to.
She wants more podcasts, actually. There's not enough.
Okay, well, maybe we need to start booking more podcasts then.
And speaking of, my older sister loves the podcast too. Caitlin Allen, she owns Global Affairs Associates. She's the queen of ESG.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a sister in the
older sister, yeah,
in the oil and gas industry too. Okay, so pretty much your whole family kind of marched to this drum and got in.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Whether my sister wanted to or not initially, she eventually ended up with this amazing company, and she's killed it. I mean, she was the forefront of ESG before anybody knew what it was, working with Devon and a bunch of other larger companies when they were trying to figure out what this is. So she's a consulting firm where if you wanted to figure out what best works for you and your company, whether it's sustainability or the whole gamut, she and her colleagues figure that out. Global Affairs Associates.
Okay, all right. So you're in Ireland. You're doing your. So
how back? I like this. We're ping ponging over here. I love this.
You know what is? I don't know if it's a good conversation or just ADD. So anyway, so you're in Ireland. So how long are you there for?
8 weeks.
You're 8 weeks, and all right. You enjoyed it, I'm assuming.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Did you stay in a hotel?
You look back at those days and you wonder how you did it. Like, how do you stay up? We were just talking about this earlier. Oh yeah, I can have one more. It's just 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Then you got to wake up at 6 and be in the field all day working.
Dude, I know.
And then you do it again.
I know.
I don't know how I did that.
Dude,
I have 2 beers, I'm out.
I remember when I first got out. I know. I was just talking. So Jeff came in this morning. He's like, "Yeah, sorry." Like, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm late." I'm like, "You're actually not." But anyway, nice. I think that's a power move. Like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm late." You make me second guess myself. But no, but we were talking about that. Like, remember back in the day when you first started on the oil field? Like, dude, like it's like 12:30 at night. You're like, "Oh yeah, I can have one more vodka Red Bull." You're like on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday.
It's just a Tuesday.
And you're like, "Oh, I got 5 hours of sleep. I'll be good." No, like now if it's like 9:30 at night, I'm not in my jammy jam, snug as a bug in a rug in my bed. I'm like, I'm going to be miserable the next 3 days. Yeah. It's crazy.
And it takes 3 days.
I know.
I had a great vacation. I know it's going to hurt till about Thursday.
I know. So you're over there. So what was your first? So you get back, you graduate, and then what was your first kind of role? And I guess how'd you get into your current company now? And talk about that.
Yeah, so Ireland was great. You learn a lot. phenomenal time. It really was the best education because you get to apply. I don't think a lot of degrees you have that application right after or right before you graduate. And that was so much fun. I come back. I had a few job opportunities, one in Austin, one in San Antonio. Declined. I ended up coming to work for my dad's company at that time. It was Alan Hoffman Exploration.
And you were doing
with Paul Hoffman, geology.
Okay.
So basically, go find X on a map to drill. That's what geologists do. And I never did any horizontal drilling. I never did any geosteering, any of that stuff. I kept it real, as they say, old school.
Kept it real in geology. Okay.
And drilled some wells, found some good oil, and worked there. And I also worked for other companies, Alta Mesa, back when they were actually a real company.
Yeah.
Because they're a terrible company. They're gone now, but
that's why you can say that.
I can say whatever I want.
That's right. You can.
Hal Chappelle. I'll call. You want to call people out?
Fucking bring it, dude.
I will.
Bring it.
I will destroy those people, and I have all of the evidence to show it. Yeah, Hal Chappelle is not a. He's the problem. Those people like that are the problem of this industry. But I worked for another amazing company. Probably they are the test. If you think you're a good operator, you're probably not. But Weiser Brown out of Arkansas,
yeah,
best company. Those people, handshake deals, salt to the earth, like respect, honesty. So if I was going to drill a well, there's only two people I want to drill. Ryan Price of Poco LLC, who's our operator right now,
right,
and then Weiser Brown out of Arkansas. They are the best.
So what makes someone the best?
Transparency.
Okay.
A lot of operators can hide things, not do as good a job, maybe shuffle their feet, not move as quickly.
Okay.
Weiser Brown are the type of people that you can pick up the phone, call them. They'll tell you what's going on. Their jibs or bills for people that don't know. Very transparent. That you can trust what they're doing. You trust their numbers. They do a great job, and they're always going to do their best to get you the well you want.
So
that's how they've been around forever. I mean, they've been around for this isn't true, but I'm going to say 200 years.
So to you, it's transparency, no bullshit. Do what you say. Don't overpromise. Don't underload. Just be open and candid.
You can see where all of your dollars went.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
You can tell
that's pretty rare in
dollars
oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
Well, previously, I'm sure things are going to change moving forward. Yeah, I think they will.
I've had problems with bad operators. That's part of the game, and that's when if you're shopping deals or going to look for a deal for anybody's out there, you always ask who's drilling the well.
Okay.
That's a huge amount of risk. James Mertz has a great story about a bad operator or what became a bad operator. I do. I mean, most people in this industry do, and that's how you kind of learn. To get out from under them. Alta Mesa, terrible operator. Started as a great operator, one of the best actually. They had the best reputation, and then it was destroyed by Hal Chappelle.
So what? I love that. Getting some heat. I dig it.
I go hard. I'm not a PC guy.
I'm
not a politically, I'm not here to make everybody feel good.
That's why I love you, man. So this is actually the second time I've talked to Jeff. I think we messaged each other a little bit. I think you came in here when I was doing the podcast with Yusuf.
Yeah.
And speaking of Yusuf,
Cool Kids Club over there.
He was supposed to join the Petroleum. I was thinking about it.
Did he? I think he sent it by pigeon. His application.
Yeah, that or smokescreen. I just don't know what's going on. But
he should be a member.
But if he's listening, I think.
Oh, he's listening. This is his favorite podcast.
So it's.
But he likes it more than his.
Well,
That's
yeah.
what he said.
Well, I mean, I don't think he likes listening to his voice, and I get that. I don't like listening to his voice either, or mine. So
So I'll try to talk more so people can hear my.
I'm fine with that
voice.
I'm fine with that. So what? Okay, what if you're doing a deal and John Smith is drilling it, and you never met John Smith and all that stuff. So what do you do? Do you start the relationship, or do you just?
You would contact them and ask for references.
Okay.
And it's funny now. The only operators that are left are the good ones. This downturn has just shredded our industry, and the only operators that are left really are the good ones.
So it sounds like it's shredded the industry, but not necessarily doesn't mean it's all bad.
Everything is an opportunity. And I'm never somebody who's like, the sky is falling. There's always a way out or a positive perspective to have, whether it takes a year or two or it's right in front of you. That's what I mean. My partner, Mike Jones, Charger Exploration, he's a little LeBron James of finding oil in South Texas.
Mike Jones?
Mike Jones. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I was going to give his number out, but
no.
They can find him on LinkedIn. So,
He hates that.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I'm sure once that song came out, he's like,
when I first met him, I had to bite my tongue. I shook his hand. I had to bite my tongue. I was like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
This
And
is
I'm sure you
this
slipped.
is a professional
I'm sure
setting.
you slipped it in the first like dinner you had. You're like, hey, 832-774-6004.
There you go.
Shit, I don't even know where
we were talking about
So that being, you're talking about everything being an opportunity.
opportunity. So my partner and I, we raised our money, $6 million to start our new company in 2016. It was actually here at the Petroleum Club. Every year they have the networking event, if you want to call it that.
What's it called, the networking event?
Here it's called the Yuletide Reception. It's everyone in the industry comes here.
Okay.
And usually it's a great pulse on the industry, whether it's packed and it's fun and everyone's drunk, it means it's a good year, or there's no one here. Obviously it's a bad year.
Yeah.
But I go every year. It's the best. COVID obviously hurt us.
Right.
But this coming year, it's going to be fantastic. It's always at the end of the year.
So what's interesting, talking about, turn things into an opportunity, you're right. I mean, COVID hit, don't get me wrong, it sucked. You know what I mean? It was brutal. It sucked. It's still here. Okay, we get that. But I'm also saying, like, during that time, and I hate being this way, but like that's kind of when this podcast started. That's kind of when like the things start. Like you see people kind of getting creative. Other people come on and start a secondary business. I just released Shane Sher and Seth Hill. They started Ice Baby. Like you see certain things. Like during this time this sucks. We can't do shit about this right now. However, we can probably pivot our energy and our efforts and our focus somewhere else and try to create something new. So I completely agree with that. It's just perspective.
And look at the club. So many other clubs in America were doing bad before COVID, and we've not been able just to stay alive. We've been able to, reinvent or push things we've been wanting to do for years. It gave us time to sit down, breathe. Because, before COVID, things are moving so fast in here, it's hard to find the time. So, that's your phone? Is it in your jacket?
Sorry.
The world always trying to get JP.
Right. And we're back. I just had a phone call. I don't know what that was
You're
about.
a busy guy. You're successful. That happens. My phone hasn't rang once.
Well, I'm sure. My best friend Spam keeps calling me all the time.
Yeah.
So, no, let's. I want to talk about the Petroleum Club. I kind of want to finish, talk about your career a little bit first. So you raised $6 million, right?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, the industry, we were talking about the independents earlier.
Yeah.
It's a culmination of people that have ideas, like I want to drill here,
right,
or I want to explore here, and then you go and raise the money through not private equity, not banks, not institutions. You go to family offices or just wealthy individuals that know the industry.
They're like friends and family.
Sure. So we ended up in 2016, oil was $23 a barrel. We did it here at the Petroleum Club. We were wasted off martinis in the other room. I pitched him my idea and he said, let's do it. And so we went back to his office, wrote up papers, shook hands, probably hugged, drank more, and boom.
That is such an old school way to do. That is such an old school way to do.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the kind of people I like.
But I dig that though, and the fact that it happened here at the Petroleum Club makes it a lot more. That's a story.
Yeah. So every year we come back, or we tried to before COVID, and we come here and get drunk at the same table and relive it. And thankfully it worked, because there were times we were kind of hot and cold on it for a little while, kind of scared to jump in, I think. And I had a bunch of other interviews for other jobs. Funny, my dad's a great entrepreneur, and he kept telling me, you need a regular job. Like, he did not want me to go start my own company.
Kind of do what he did.
Yeah. And I had an interview at an investment bank, and they're just a bunch of used car salesmen. Like, let's be honest. They're successful and smart, but
excellent used car salesmen.
Excellent. The best.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my friends are in investment banking. That's why I had to say that to
their listeners as well.
Oh, yeah. They love it. And I had an interview to be a geologist at an investment bank. I knew the geologist position I was going to take. And the questions they asked me, and like I had a folder of oil I had found. Like, these are wells that I drilled. Like, I know the industry. I've been in it forever. And they didn't care.
What were they asking? Like, what's your greatest weakness? My greatest weakness is the ability to say no. I'll just commit too much.
Just the dumbest questions. I was shocked. And some of them were like as if I was in college still.
Yeah, that's the weakness part.
And and I don't know, it was like basic geology questions that nobody even uses. And I said, look, I think we're all here to find oil, and I know how to do that. I'm not here to take an exam like I was in college. So you don't even want to look at this? No, didn't care. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm out. This is not for me. I walked out, and then I called my partner. I was like, all right, we're all in. We got to go jump in. And then like we raised the money. It took exactly 300 days to raise all of it, and that was right before my 30th birthday. We got the signed papers, so it was quite a good story.
That is a great story.
Yeah, it was awesome. That's the industry. Everybody in this industry has some cool stories. Mine aren't even that cool compared to others.
That's the point. First off, I disagree. Second off, that's the point of this podcast. I mean, we want to hear those cool stories.
And that's what I want to share. This is like our side of the industry. A lot of people don't know, and to be frank, a lot of the people are dying off. They're 70 plus. They're either retired or they're simply passing on and to the afterlife. And I want to honor them, the people I grew up around and learned everything from, not just business but ethics and success. So
and kind of preserve the way that we did do business.
Yes, for sure.
Through trust, relationships, handshakes.
Right.
Growing up with these people.
And that's what SIPES is. SIPES is to give the Society of Independence. Were back in the days. This organization is like 72 years old.
Okay.
So way back in the day when people had briefcases and everybody and their mom had a deal to sell, that's where we get the bad reputation of, oh, he's an oil man, he's a shyster, he's a liar.
Snake oil.
Yeah, snake oil. Because people would steal money from everybody.
Yeah.
So SIPES was an organization about ethics. And if you were a member of SIPES, you had a stamp. They still give you a rubber stamp. You stamp it on your maps, your pieces of paper. And you knew that you were dealing with somebody who was reputable, who had a reputation of being not just a good oil finder, but not going to steal your money. And so it's been a very small organization for a long time because it's very hard to become a member. And we do all of the kind of background checks you can imagine on new members and making sure that they're the type of people we want to do business with and would recommend everybody else to do business with. So when I raise the $6 million, about, I'd say 60% of that is straight from members of SIPES.
So going on that route, I mean, how do you guys get the approval or in a badge of honor, I guess, inside? How do you like test your like business ethics? I mean, what's that process like?
It comes down to references. I mean, there's not many people right now in our industry that are independents or entrepreneurs, especially on the conventional exploration side.
Okay.
And it comes down to us knowing who you are, people referring you. It's not an organization that just some random person can apply to. We do have tiers, so you have active member, somebody who is a business owner, and you can be a non-active member.
Okay.
And that's somebody who obviously might not own their own business or might not buy or sell deals, or maybe a geologist that works for another company, or maybe even a service provider. But that's a huge separation in membership. So
4 years ago, you raised the money a couple days for your 30th, right?
Yeah.
Was it 4 years?
30th.
I'm real bad at math. Anyway, 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So you started your own company.
Yep. And that is going well. We're drilling still. We're going to drill 3 wells before the end of the year. All of our wells hit because Mike Jones is LeBron James of all the Miocene, Frio, and Vicksburg down there. What our vision was, we were talking about opportunities. And this is the big thing. The downturn happened. Everyone's crying, blood in the streets. It's like, this is when you make things happen. If you look, I'm not a very smart man, so I have to rely on history to tell me what to do. If you look at the downturns, that's when people really made something of themselves. When oil was $120 or whatever it was, I mean, great. People that already had production were doing well, but the people trying, they didn't do anything.
Exactly.
That's not, because then you're going to drop off.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the Exxon, the business model, like Ryanair. You know what I mean? He's Irish too. Whenever things are kind of in the can, in the shitter, that's when they go out and pursue their deals.
I didn't
and
know
they
we
sign
could
their
curse on
stuff.
that. Can I say shit?
You can say shit here. All right. I think I dropped the F-bomb already twice, and I think I said bullshit a couple times. Anyway, thanks for listening. So like that's kind of when they make their they do the long-term contracts when things are kind of on the downside. That's I get it. It's smart.
Well, that's when we shot. So our whole project was we were pitching to people saying, all right, oil's low. People are screaming it's never going to come back up, which is not true.
Right.
Anybody who's in the oil business, let me just a little sidebar. Anybody who's been in the oil industry,
bring it.
Who says, oh, we're never going to see $30 or $40 or $80 barrel, or we're never going to see $4 gas again. Don't ever talk to that person again. Don't. Because they either don't know the industry they're in or have ever looked at the history of the price of oil and gas, don't understand the market of this commodity we have. And we don't have those kind of people in the SIPES. People in the SIPES understand the business. So they've been in it for that long.
So how do you feel about people constantly posting on LinkedIn what oil is going to be in about 3 months? Does that kind of funny. Well, projected to be at $80. Here we go. It's like, no, I mean, if we knew that, we'd be in a different...
Nobody knows what the number is. You just know that it's going to go up and it's going to go down.
Exactly.
And when it hit negative 37 or whatever that was during COVID, I loved that day. It was the best day. I was so happy.
Was that because you started drinking a little bit early?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone in the oil field did. I think the oil field woke up, April 21st with 2020 with the worst hangover ever.
No, because it pushed out all these people that were still lingering in our industry, whether they were private equity companies or operators or just horizontal drilling companies. It finally pushed them out. It was the last nail in the coffin for those types of business models.
Yeah.
Their whole business model was a valuation, fake valuation, and then flip, sell to somebody else,
right,
and leave. And so now that industry has had to completely rethink and be an actual company instead of a fake spreadsheet.
And run it like a
company.
Because that's not historically been happening in the oil and gas industry.
Right. The last decade has been insane. But so that was really happy. I knew that was just a Wall Street fire sale. None of my investors cared. They all laughed, and it really wasn't a big deal because I'm dealing with people that understand our industry. And I think we shut in 2 of our wells for a while and just let it come back,
right,
and then boom. We make money at $30 a barrel.
Yeah,
when it's 60, we're very happy.
Yeah. So you start this thing at 30 years old, and your dad didn't want you to do your own thing. So once you actually,
he would call me and he would say, "Are you still doing that?"
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. Was your dad Dad, are you proud? Was your dad proud of you? I guess at the end of the day.
Yeah. At the end of the day, of course.
But I guess during the process, he was very hesitant because there was a lot of risk involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I thought I was going to raise it. I thought I had the connections. I thought it would be easy. It wasn't. All my savings were gone. The classic entrepreneur story. Why am I doing this? And most people that bought in, I'd never met before. They were just cold calls.
Really?
Yeah. Just call them and be like, and I got really good at getting through secretaries to the head guys.
So you kind of took you got in sales pretty much.
Oh yeah. Well, I know that. So when in 2016, all these companies went under, and I was laid off, and that was the time I was thinking to myself. It was actually Thanksgiving, and I was thinking, what are my strengths? I need to play to that, and I need somebody on the other side. I'm very much into team sports and building teams.
Okay.
And I needed somebody who made my weakness look like a strength too. So Mike Jones, Charger Exploration, like I said, the best oil finder. We were on a few boards together. Sipes is one of them. That's kind of how I met him. And when I was like 23 and I was just become a member of Sipes, I think everybody was telling me that's the guy to watch. That's the guy. You got to get close to that guy. He's killing it. He came out of A&M and just already started his own company and was drilling wells left and right.
So you joined Sipes at 23 years old.
Yeah. Granted, I knew a lot of those members because I grew up with them.
I was going to say that's
very unique.
That's a pretty professional step for someone that just got out of college.
Well, I like to do things early.
Okay, I dig that. So started this. Dad's proud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so his strength, Mike Jones' strength, is this more science, geology side, exploration, and mine was more the people raising money.
Right.
I wanted to really dig into that. I'm much more of a people person, maybe.
Right.
And I loved it. It was fun. We were flying together on our last dollar, scrounging dollars together to fly to Dallas, Denver, anywhere there was money, and we were pitching deals, and it was fun. We had our briefcase. It was so old school.
I love that.
Though. Him and I really considered him like a brother.
Okay.
And I would do anything for him. I think I don't remember 4 bodies for him, but he's a phenomenal guy. Like I said, I trust people outside the industry too, and I even drove to Pearland, to a suburb for him, which some of my friends that live in Katy, I've never even been to their house. So I love that guy. I love his family. They're phenomenal people.
Dude, that's pretty impressive. I love hearing that story. First off, it's such a cool first off, your dad's story is cool as hell. Yeah. Second off, your story about kind of walking away from the investment bank. All right, roll your sleeves up, and we're gonna do this, ourselves. Going around trying to make deals, get in front of the right people, shaking hands. You finally make the deal, and then on top of that, through all that pressure and stress and all that stuff, you still love who you're working with. I think that's great to hear, sitting across the table from someone and entrepreneur or whatever, and they're working with people they love. Yeah. And that to me it makes going to work so much better.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion.
I love going to work.
So
I don't even have work. I owned a gym for a long time. I just sold it. It was #1 gym in Houston. It was personal training and group classes called Cannon Fitness. It was over near Star Lane and Chimney Rock. And that's kind of what paid my bills. When I didn't have any income, when I was out on my own trying to raise money, I didn't have anybody paying me except the gym. And a lot of independents have the story of, I was working 2 or 3 jobs while I was a geologist trying to make this sale. I had an idea of exploration. I needed to sell it, but I needed money to sustain myself. And actually, my dad cried the first time my mom told him she was pregnant. He's like, well, now I can't go broke whenever I want. I got to actually support kids. This is terrible.
I kind of feel like every dad has that experience. I feel like that's not just
my dad is a gunslinger. You know, he was out there doing big things, and he had to tighten his belt up a little bit when he had Caitlin, my older sister, and he did a good job doing it.
Congrats, Mr. Allen.
Yeah.
So hey, let's bring this to the Petroleum Club, because I kind of want to talk to you about this. Like, so I just became a member last week.
Congrats.
All right.
I think I was on the board when we accepted your application.
Did anyone talk shit?
Oh yeah, everybody. I had to slam the table real hard and say, no, I'm vouching.
You had to put that stamp of approval, the ethics stamp down. The side stamp. Yeah, it's like, guys.
I slammed the table. I was like, no, guys, JP is a great guy. Just because he has long hair doesn't mean he's a hippie. He's a good guy.
You got to go with it. So we just joined, right? Me and my wife.
And y'all were here for Easter.
We were here for Easter. This is the Easter before COVID. My daughter found the silver egg, the golden egg. She found it. This greatest picture I have of her in my life. And but I want to talk to you about the Petroleum Club of Houston because, and correct me, and I'm not trying to like throw shade or anything like that, but like I am going to be straight with you. I'm ethical. But like, I kind of feel like, the Petroleum Club in like Dallas or like Midland, like it seems like the oil field, oil and gas community. I'm not sure if it's because people live closer to it or whatever. It just seems like, it's active here. I've seen the stuff on y'all's Instagram. There's always something to do here.
Always.
Steak night, bourbon flights, wine night, ladies lunch, AAD meetings, networking events. And this bar, the Bengal Bar, is cool as hell too.
It is.
However, I feel like what do you think is key? I guess when you're talking to people on this stuff, what is kind of the hesitation or kind of keeping people, the younger generation, from I guess coming in for a membership or considering or thinking about that? What is that? Is that kind of like, well, it's kind of no one's like, because I think it's such a, and I'm not knocking it because I think that there's a lot of people that was on the directory that are kind of like that. I'm like, they remember. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Like, what is that with people?
I think the hardest part, every organization is having a difficult time reaching out to our generation.
Right.
Our generation, I'm picking up my phone right now for those that can't see.
No one can see.
No one can see. I'm glad you got the joke.
Well, I just paused it because of a phone call. So anyway.
Everybody lives through their phone.
Yeah.
So the idea of being face-to-face, or the negative word that networking is now. Nobody likes that word. And that's one thing I love about the club. I don't feel like I've ever networked a day in my life here. I just hang out. I've met 3 of my closest friends at this club.
Do you know what?
And they have nothing to do about the oil industry. We have people here that are bankers, real estate, and insurance industry.
Lawyers.
Whatever, yeah. Everything. The Petroleum Club name is, I guess... you would think, obviously, everybody's in the petroleum industry, but they're not. People on our board, not everybody is in the oil industry.
But people think networking because it has work in it. You know what I mean? It's like, I gotta go.
Or it's one of those, I'm going to send my business card, I'm going to do a happy hour, not know anybody. No, here you come relax. Let's take some drinks. Let's smoke some cigars. Yeah, let's smoke cigars. But that's what I like, and that's what this place has always been. It's been a very good environment to foster friendships, because that's why I've been a member here.
Right.
Like I said, I've met some phenomenal friends here.
How has I guess with you being on the board of the the YPA and stuff, YPA, Young Professionals Association, with COVID, with wanting to attract new members and all that stuff, how have y'all, I guess, shifted and adapted y'all's strategy or events and stuff like that to attract new, I guess, potential members?
And what we're doing what we're doing right now, and this is another one of our members. It was his idea. We went to the big universities here, Rice, UT, A&M, all the MBA schools here in Houston, and we just said, hey, how about all of your graduates get a 1-year membership free? You don't have to pay anything other than like the drinks and food you pay here.
Right.
But let's help Houston. Let's help the new generation of business people in this city, and maybe they'll get a job. Maybe they'll meet new people, and it comes down to who you know. Yeah. And thankfully, the people in this club are the type of people you want to know, and they love to help. And so I think the person that I think Cherie is giving somebody a tour who is part of the A&M MBA program. Right. He's a recent graduate. So what we're trying to do is attract them, give them a safe place to come and and meet people, express themselves. Because now, I mean, everybody knows how hard it is to put resumes out there or get a job. I mean, it's terrible. And you might be the best person for the job, but you're not going to get it. And if
because your resume is written the wrong way.
Or just for some reason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just really nice that we were able to connect with those schools, and those schools are so hungry to connect with us. And so that's our number one thing, and we're going to be having a lot of younger people here. Like every organization trying to get younger people. Every country club is spinning their wheels. Country clubs are in a really bad place right now. Really bad.
Well, what's cool about this, like I was talking to my business partners about this, like, you know, being in sales. By the way, you asked what I did. I'm in sales. Being in sales.
Guest.
Didn't know that. You know, you need a place to play golf sometimes with customers. You need to. The best part about this is like I don't have to go doing it. Like I can play all over the state. I can play all this, you know, the United States if I want to. I mean, there's 5 or 6 in the Houston area I can play at. I think, which is great for me.
Best part of the club is the reciprocal club.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love to travel. And I always look at the list. Where am I going? Where I have a reciprocal club, or like you said, golf or hotel. Anywhere it helps you get into other places that maybe you wouldn't. They wouldn't let me in. You kidding me? Look at me. They wouldn't let me in if I wasn't stamped on.
If I didn't have that stamp, I wouldn't get in. So you're going out to universities trying to get these people that just graduated, potentially getting in any industry and all that stuff.
Industry.
Showing them this, so you don't have to be just petroleum.
Not at all.
In the industry.
Not at all.
Here. This is just a professional club, and it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing that. How? Like, what else? Tell me about the events here. I guess that y'all are. I guess putting on and hosting that. I guess. And anyone can check out the events, either going to the website or go to their Instagram. I mean, their Instagram is pretty active and live, and it kind of stays up to date. So
it does.
So talk to me about, I guess, the events y'all putting on. I guess
we have
the new
something
stuff
for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're 70 years old or you're 24 years old. We have, like you said, flight nights. We like to partner with distilleries. Anybody, whether they're local or not, we like to have this place be an opportunity that you can not just learn about the city, but I like to learn about things, whether it's wine, cigars, whiskey, tequila, anything. So we have a lot of educational events that are fun. The wine dinners here are the most famous. So if you like wine, these are very affordable. You'll be drinking, you know, those really fancy bottles of wine.
Yeah.
I still drink like barefoot. You know, let's be honest. I'll buy.
Hey, give me a Yellowtail Shard. I'll be okay.
Yeah, and but these people really know what they're doing. We have a really, really nice wine room where if you were into wine, you could store your wine, and a lot of people use that. But the wine dinners here, I think, are my absolute favorite. Also, you have a wife. I don't, but women like to dress up, and there's not many places in Houston like a gala.
I like dressing up too sometimes.
All right, good. Put a tuxedo on, you look great. And this club has a lot of events. You can come in here with jeans and a polo on some events, and some you dress up, so you get a little bit of everything.
I like throwing a blazer on. I think you always throw a blazer on.
I like it too. I'm a little girl. I like to dress up. I grew up around sisters, so we play dress up all the time.
You know what I love about this place, and I wish it was. Actually, I kind of don't, because it's kind of secret. I was gonna say I wish it was like broadcast more, but I don't. But the coolest thing I saw at the Petroleum Club, besides the Bengal Bar, is that chef's table in the kitchen.
Oh yeah,
dude,
that's great.
So there's apparently I've seen it. I'm an idiot.
Let it ride.
Anyway, let it go.
We've had a lot of coffee.
We'll load that out. So anyway, so like in the kitchen, like it's a kitchen. There's huge glass walls that separate the kitchen and this little walk-in room, and it's called the chef's table. And it's like this room that could fit 15, 20 people or something.
15.
Like 15 people, and it's a corner spot, windows,
incredible view.
You talk about an awesome entertainment, like idea.
That's my favorite place.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like
I've hosted a lot of business dinners there, or just somebody new coming into town that you're trying to do business with. You get that room. You get to see the chef and the kitchen working, which is a pretty fun ambiance. The chef here is world class. You can get whatever you want. Also, a lot of people don't know that. You have a menu. You call them up. Hey, I want name anything.
So it's like fouads.
And you can name anything, and they'll make it for you.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know what fouads is if you grew up in the oil field in the 80s.
I have no idea.
Oof, okay, that's probably a good thing. So during the application, I want to talk about this also. It had and this kind of might hold some people back too, and I kind of want to address this. It was a referral. Like you need to list 2 referrals. What happens if you don't know anyone here?
It's a great question. You contact the club, and that would be Cherie.
Right.
And she's the queen of the place. She makes this place sing as beautifully as it does. And she would invite you in. and we would have a lunch. So she would call upon some of the board members, the younger members, and say, hey, we have so-and-so, John Doe wants to come. He doesn't know anybody. We need to have a lunch or dinner or drinks, whatever fits his schedule.
Right.
And it might be him and like 3 of us. And we just chop it up, talk, relax, get to know him a little bit. And then we give him a thumbs up or thumbs down.
So it's not like a that's not a hard pass. Like, oh, don't have it. I don't
No,
know.
not at all. I mean, not at all. We
It's
just
kind
come
of
to
an
the
added
club.
bonus.
I mean, yeah, that's an added bonus. For somebody who knows people in the club, I mean, it's easy. But if you don't, obviously, I mean, we want to know. We want people we don't know. You know, it's not just, only people have
I want to
referrals.
surround myself with my friends. No,
Yeah, we want new. Everything in life it takes a village, and you want your village to be as big and profitable or prosperous as possible. So
My favorite season here is definitely fall season, like Christmas. Yeah, when you come to the bar and all that stuff, the sun sets like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's got a great view. It's just sit here and chill. I love this. I mean, I love this place. So the events that you're having, it's very targeted towards, I guess, pretty much everyone. I mean, there's dinners, there's
yes, and so we have a really fun event coming up. I want to say August. I probably am wrong on that because I'm terrible with dates. I don't even remember
I think
anybody's
it's probably
birthday.
pushed. I think it's pushed.
No,
No, I'm being serious.
it was the golf one.
I think it's pushed.
Okay, so it's a great event though. Every room has a different hole. It's like putt-putt, and every room has its own drink. And you come around and have fun, and we'll have the TVs on, and it's a great event.
Tell me about more of your favorite events here. Seriously, like this is like, I mean, just
So
kind of give people an idea.
I love well, there's so many. Like I said, I like to dress up.
Yep.
The wine dinners, the French American wine dinner is probably the best. You drink way. I can't drink that much wine, but you get to guess between whether it's American or French, and it's a really fun. We like our events to be engaging. You're not sitting at your table bored ever.
Not talking to the person to your left or right.
It gets loud. It gets fun. It's not a stuffy environment. That's what I understand why somebody would think the club might be stuffy or quiet or, nose in the air. It is not.
Right.
We like to have fun here. It's a private club, so we have a lot more leeway. And you have people from all different walks of life. People think it's just a conservative place. That's not true. We have a ton. I mean, I think half of our board here is very liberal, which is
I
great.
love that.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And some of my other favorite events. The Scotch dinner is the YPA event of the year. It's fun. We have great food paired with Scotch. We always do something different, like whether it's or just whiskey, like Japanese whiskey, and we buy like the top-notch stuff here.
Yeah, this is
You're not
bottom
coming.
shelf.
There is no. I'm looking at the bar right now. We don't have any bottom shelf anything.
No, I'm looking at the bar.
If you're going to have a whiskey, you have a selection of really nice stuff, and that's one of the benefits of being a member and why we can afford those things. Rather, if you go to like a regular bar,
Right.
If you're a member here, those member fees are paying for your quality of experience here.
So you're sitting there and you're actually learning about the whiskeys too, so you can take that and kind of speak that to your buddies.
Yeah, for sure. Next time you're at golfing, you're like, well, I was having a Japanese whiskey that was blah, 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 blah.
Well, actually, Japanese whiskey is not really Japanese unless it's north of the Fuji. Yeah,
right, whatever it is. And I like learning. I'm a huge nerd, so that's what makes me excited. Yeah. And that's what makes me excited. Also, the events we put on, the distinguished lecture series, where we invite people of all different disciplines to come and speak.
Right.
Mr. Jim Luke of Walter Oil and Gas, he's the current president. Probably the best president we've had in a decade.
Okay.
And he was during COVID. And I think one of the main reasons we were able to pull out of COVID so prosperous was because of him and his efforts. I mean, he tirelessly put forth the effort to keep this place together, along with the staff, of course. But he, at the head of being the leader, we have a big hunting and fishing group here.
So talk to me about that now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm not really a hunter or a fisher, but I think there's people out there kind of listening that might be listening about that.
I love to know about Texas and all different disciplines, and he invited, because his network is very large, he invited some amazing wildlife conservation people of all different disciplines to come speak and teach people. And we would like the club to be an educational place. And we've had people talk about the deep freeze. We've had Navy SEALs come and speak.
You have one coming up, a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another one. And that's also, Jim Luke has a phenomenal network of people to come and speak. And during COVID, this was really great. Every week we had, and I'm forgetting his name right now, one of the heads of Memorial Hermann talk about COVID. Where are we at? Like the real facts. right? It wasn't just
Really?
headlines. Yeah, and every week we had somebody telling us like, oh, those headlines are just crazy. This is what's really happening. It's okay. Relax.
Don't trust the news.
Don't
This is
ever,
really what's going on.
News is just entertainment.
I hate the news.
Yeah, it's just entertainment.
You do too. I like that.
So that was really cool. We always want, and I think we do a good job of helping the Petroleum Club be a place of education for our city, Houston, and also different industries. We have people come and give outlook on the real estate every year. We have people of all different disciplines.
So pretty much what you're telling, which I'm digging about this, because like literally before I joined the club, I kind of thought it was okay. Well, this is where AAD has their lunches. This is where they have this. Occasionally they might have a wine night and all that stuff. But what I'm
occasionally we have wine nights all the time.
But that's the thing though. Like what I'm learning is right now, not just being a member, sitting here talking to you. It's just it's obviously looking at the Instagram and all that stuff. It's cool seeing number one the number of activities that are here. Number two, it's not just oil and gas discussions. This is kind of something that a lot of different industries, a lot of different people to meet. The reciprocating clubs are money. I think that's great.
That's my personal favorite part of it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. The fact that you can go anywhere else and kind of use that club, and and the fact that you're bringing also local Houston people in to talk about stuff. I mean, it's very. So I guess I didn't realize the level of activities and the level of entertainment and just the look. I mean, historically you can assume the Petroleum Club is kind of a people in suit and ties and gray hairs talking about disformation, whatever, and all that stuff. But it's not like that. It's a new club. It's that respects the historic tradition, right?
Oh yeah.
And then, but it's a young, fun club. And are you seeing? I guess through COVID, and I guess your online social media or Instagram, whatever it is, and all these events that y'all are hosting and putting on, are you seeing more of an increase in interest for a lot of members? Really,
for sure.
Really,
and like I mentioned earlier, a lot of other clubs are in a bad place or they closed. A lot of Club Corp. That, if you don't know, Club Corp is a huge organization that owns and runs a lot of like clubs around North America. And a business like that has to look at it as a business and say this one isn't making as much money. Close these doors. We've had a lot of individuals come from other clubs that want to be a member here, and I think for our price point, gosh, I mean, you get a lot for it. It isn't. It is not a.
It's actually
expensive. Gym. It's not an expensive organization.
But that's the thing, though. I didn't realize how affordable it was.
Yeah.
Like I remember I got that the acceptance letter, and I was like, "That's it?
Yes.
Okay, I dig that. That's like a dinner with a family."
And
it is.
Yeah, and talking about other events, you're here for Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day is one of my favorites. My mom, when I was a kid, we would come to all of those events because my mom didn't want to cook. It's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
She wants to come here and have a few glasses of wine and leave.
And I thought that was kind of very sweet of Jeff I got an email last week. It's like, hey, you're going to be there Mother's Day on Sunday. I'm like, what, you want to meet your mom already? I'm excited about this. Let's do this.
Always. I want everybody to meet my mom, yeah.
I mean, so like we came here for Easter and like, of course you couldn't do the Easter egg hunt, but I mean, the way that y'all shifted and adapted, y'all had this, you had this Easter fairy, then you had all these, it was just like, and
we do it.
And
you do it right.
Y'all really do it right. And it's great are y'all open to like, I guess discussing with members like new ideas for
always.
Really?
Always.
So it's very involved.
Some of our events are ideas of a member.
Really?
Yeah, always. I mean, we had a cigar night. This was before COVID. That was a member who loves cigars said we need to do this because none of y'all know about cigars.
Okay.
So I learned, and he updated I'm looking at it right now in the bar. We have an amazing cigar list that he thought before he got involved wasn't up to par. And so he just decided
he's improving the club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things our members really want the place to be better. They're hands-on, and the club listens. If you were at another club, they might be like, "Yeah, okay, go back to your little corner."
And that would piss me off.
Yeah,
that would piss me
off.
Guys,
we're paying. We want to be here, and that's the board really sees that as an added bonus. They want to hear from you. And Garrett Vandergraaf was the president before me of the YPA Young Professionals, and he was the head of the YPA for, I don't know, like 30 years. That's a joke. I think it was 5. But he really is. Yeah, thanks. He really is one of the main reasons the club is pushed in that direction because of the effort that he put in. He works at Indigo. He's a phenomenal petroleum engineer. He really was instrumental in, for example, being able to come here and not wear a jacket, or a little bit more business casual attire, or also he revamped our entire menu. He was the one that, I mean, the list goes on and on because he's been so influential, but I'm just riding his coattails. I mean, I'm sitting here and trying to build on what he did, and thank you, Garrett, for helping the club for so many years.
I just love what y'all are, and honestly, like, and that's kind of one of the reasons that I wanted to actually record this podcast here, just because this is such a staple, not just in our industry, but in our city. You know, whether it's, and I'm sure the Petroleum Club in many other cities are as well, but I mean in Houston especially, this is a kind of a staple in our city, and that's why I'm so, I guess, honored to do it here and to highlight, I guess, the club and the benefits of that. I'm not just saying that because I'm a member, but like I just think it needs, and I'm not saying it needs it, but like I would love for like for example, my circle. You know, I wish like more of my group of people would join here. And actually, since I joined and started talking to them, and I'm telling them about all these events and all that stuff, more people are like, they have that? They do that? I didn't know that. So we got a couple people, I guess, that are kind of in serious consideration of coming to be members here just because they didn't know. Yeah. And that's the thing. I would love to, and that's the point of this, is to build, I guess, awareness, not just to get to know you, thank you, and all that stuff, but to build awareness about the club and I guess what's offered there. I mean, and honestly, if you have any questions, you reach out to Jeff or Cherie anytime and just kind of have a conversation with them, take a tour, come have a coffee, have a drink, and just meet the people here.
I'm here all the time.
Dude, I know.
So I know.
I've never seen you outside this office.
I don't need to sit alone. Come hang out with me.
I think you send me like a bullshit text like, oh yeah, just park, and I'm like, parking? Or you like actually have like a cot here somewhere?
Yeah,
like hanging
just
out.
woke up.
Yeah, exactly. Woke up. I was up till 9:30 last night. I'm exhausted. Yeah, I know.
Those 3 beers really hit me. Those Michelob Ultras. That's
how it works. But
the fun part of the club is when you get here and you actually see it for what it is. I mean, Yusuf on his podcast had a lot of great questions and concerns about what is the club, what's it like, what's the environment, and they're all valid points. And I think once you're here, you realize, oh, it's not at all what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And we have an app now.
I love the app.
Cherie did an amazing job on bringing us to the Instagram world and the LinkedIn world.
Well, talk about real quick the app too, which I think is legit.
We've been wanting that for a long time.
Well,
so
it has a directory on it, so you talk about networking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's like what's that? Like in a Glengarry Glen Ross. That's the leads. Yeah. That's the leads in the safe. I mean, because it's all these. It's the whole net. It's all directory.
You know me. I'm unfortunately got to cold call people sometimes, or you want to get involved. And there was somebody who was a CEO of a big company here, and I wanted to talk to them, and all I did, shoot them an email from the directory and say, I'm a member of the Petroleum Club. I would love to talk about the club and what you're doing and your history in the industry, and treat you to dinner, drink, coffee, whatever. And they're like, yeah, sure.
Much more receptive.
They're like, duh, yeah, let's do it.
I love that.
So that has been a stepping stone for me, because if I wasn't, when I was raising money, these people don't want to talk to me. I was like a 29-year-old kid.
You're coming to ask for money. I don't want to talk.
I don't want to talk. So I would.
I don't talk to my kid when she's coming to ask me for a toy. I'm like, nah, get out of here.
Yeah. So it was a good segue for me to give myself, just like being a member of SIPES. People understand that in our industry, just like being a member of the club, it gives you a little bit more clout, I guess, so to speak, to walk around and say, oh yeah, I'm not just some random geologist. I actually know this stuff. And you want to talk about history, this club, there's a book called The Finest in the Land, and when you're a member, you get it for free. It's great. You haven't gotten yours yet, obviously.
Well,
I can get that.
You have to admit that, but
they're downstairs. I need to go get it for you. I love history. With blood. And that's how we do it in the industry, man.
That's what the Petroleum Club is.
Yeah. And this club was formed the same reason many clubs are. It was a group of individuals that worked together, and this was back in the peak of the oil industry when there were rigs everywhere, and the big names were getting involved.
2010.
Yeah, just like that. And they wanted a place where reputable people could come work together and have a place to congregate. Because back in the day, it was the Rice Hotel. You had 3 locations that everybody would kind of congregate in. All the landmen kind of were at one bar. It was a low-class bar. Then you had the Rice Hotel. I don't remember the name of it. The Rice Hotel was where more of the higher-end people, the owners of companies would be the real gunslingers with money. And then I don't remember the other place that people would hang out at.
I think all the sales, it was off of 290 called the Poorhouse or something like that. That's where my old boss Bubba used to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah. And
like a little dive bar.
And this place was formed with people that I've looked up to forever. Their names ring throughout Texas and Houston as a city. They built the Glassell family, for example. Their name is everywhere. If you go to any of the museums here, these big names all started in oil and gas.
Yeah.
And even right here in the dining room, in the back corner, there's a gold plaque, and it has the names of some of the most influential wildcatters. If you don't know, a wildcatter is somebody who drills wells.
Yeah.
You would not call a horizontal driller a wildcatter. If you do hear of somebody doing that, push him away. He doesn't. Yeah, for sure. But we really do love our history here.
Yeah.
And the reason people came together to form this place, I love history. I like to know why we're here. What are we doing? And I think that's a very human experience. Like, we want to know what we're a part of. And I love being a part of people like that are up there. And every Friday night, the Wildcatter lunch is a circular table, and the guys that are left are sitting there. And these guys, I mean, are the ones that movies could be made out of easily.
Dude, stories.
Oh my gosh. And the names that are up there that have passed on are just some of the most famous names in oil and gas. I get very passionate about this industry, and to think of all the good that we did for the world finding this oil and gas, and how still do, and the way we've been able to leapfrog our entire civilization into prosperity because we had easy access to energy. Not to mention World War II. I mean, World War II was won primarily because of energy, and that happened because of, and the book speaks to that a lot, is how Texas, Beaumont specifically, saved the Allied forces, because we were pumping out. We built a pipeline record. It's been a long time since I've read this, but it was a record time where we built a pipeline up the East Coast, and that was to get cheap oil all the way up there for our forces and shipped over to Europe.
Well, then also, I remember when I was at Noble Drilling, the Legends of Sherwood Forest, all those, they brought a bunch of old roughnecks and old derricks that they brought over to
Incredible
England.
stories.
Yeah.
And I could talk about this stuff forever. I mean, I get really excited, and I know we don't have forever, but I got another 15 minutes. I love this industry, and people want to dog it and say we're dirty or we're ruining the world. Fine, that's okay.
Show me a source of energy that's not dirty.
Yeah. And I don't even know if we have time to get started on all the wind and solar stuff.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to leave on that note.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very American industry. No other country gives their citizens the right to own their minerals and their land. It doesn't happen. So some people say Australia, but it's not true. America's the only one where this industry is creating more millionaires overnight than any other industry. I mean, when we're drilling a well, or when we were out there leasing and permitting our area near Corpus Christi, I loved calling people and say, "I have a $30,000 check for you. Want it?" And these people are not, well off.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that'll pay for my daughter's entire college education, or get them out of debt, or just buy them a new car or something. And my favorite are like the farmers are like, well, they negotiate with you, and they're like, well, how about you build me a new fence too? And we're like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. Or how about you pave my driveway? And we're like, yeah, all right. I mean, we're negotiating with people, and we're respecting them because it's their property, it's their minerals. Right now we're in negotiations right now to build a pipeline, and we have to cross people's property. And so somebody has this they love their old tree, and we don't want to hurt the tree, so we're going around it. I mean, it's very basic. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, talk to them. What do they want? How do we? And my family has a nice little piece of property near Giddings, Texas, and we've had oil people shoot seismic on our property and other things, and I know from both sides. I don't want anybody to destroy my property, and I don't want to hurt somebody's property. And a lot of them are farmers, and I like that aspect of businesses. How can we be cordial and help each other? I think business is a lot more, how do we both get something out of this? And you don't want to walk away and win and them lose. I mean, there are people that think that way, and it's just awful. Thankfully, I don't work with any of them.
Well, Yusuf said he was like that when he first started. I'm being serious. He said he was like that when he first. He's like, that was a win to me. If I won, they lost. And he's like, but as I grew up and I evolved and all that stuff, no, it's a win when we both walk away and we're happy.
Yeah, and I learned that a lot actually from Weiser Brown. Weiser Brown, I got to observe them when I was younger, going into new places, specifically Idaho. We made it the 35th producing state in North America. It's a phenomenal story. They walked into the state, and this was in the Snake River Basin. Nobody knew about oil and gas. Nobody had ever drilled a producing well, and most of the wells were drilled in the 50s or 70s. So we had to write, the laws for the entire state. We had to educate these people, make them comfortable, because everybody has that caricature of oil is bad, go away. And they became instrumental. And then Richard Brown of Weiser Brown grew up in Idaho and Sun Valley, and so he understood it. But they immersed themselves in the community. And I think any business that does that's a really good sign. And so when we were down near Corpus and where we were at, that's exactly what I did. I wanted as many people to feel comfortable with us moving into this city, and they wanted us. They wanted the jobs. They wanted the prosperity that came along with it. But
you're talking about Giddings, Texas. I'm thinking like somewhere in that area. I mean, you're driving through, and there's there's new high schools, new roads, new this and all this stuff. I mean, without the industry being there, I mean, they wouldn't. The kids probably be still in those. What are those temporary trailers that are never temporary? They just stay there the entire kids' career. But I mean, there's like the improvements to the community are great. But,
yes.
Hey, I know you got something else to go to. First off, I want to say thank you for taking your time coming on here. Second off, I'm blown away and impressed about, I guess, the leadership roles that you take outside of running your own company. You know what I mean? Whether it's Petroleum Club of Houston or Sipes. I love how you're respecting the past of our industry and the history of our industry. However, you're kind of bringing it to the new era. What we're doing, you're trying, but you're doing a great job, man. Like
currently I'm raising $40 million for a new company.
Okay.
We got, like, you talk about opportunity and downturns. This last downturn of the war, and we're still kind of in. I was so excited, and that's why we've had this vision for like 5 years. I was waiting for the right time. And that -37, when that happened, I was like, boom, now's the time. Let's go. Let's go.
That was it. So everyone was boozing to depression. You were drinking for celebration.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But no, man, I love what you're doing. I love your representation of our industry and how you work with people that you want. It's ethical. It's community. It's historic. Thank you for coming on and talking more about the club. I mean, I think this would be a great for people that are curious about signing up. I mean, you reach out to Jeff online, or just go to the website and inquire, and I'm sure he'll probably meet you. But I mean, the events you do here, and just the community, and I always bring up networking on the podcast, and I think this is just another avenue, another tool to use. But I'm not trying to make this an advert for the Petroleum Club of Houston. I'm just trying to brag on it and plug it, because I think it is important to our community. It's important to our industry to have a place where people can gather and bullshit, meet people, and make lifelong connections. Yeah. So, Jeff, I really appreciate your time. I really do. I wish you continued success in your efforts on raise money and being a wildcatter. Whatever. I appreciate that. And your dad should be happy for you. Okay.
Well, I think he is. Yeah.
He should be. Okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I appreciate everything. And I'm looking forward to our next time. And
there will be a next time, because we have a lot to talk about. I feel we can talk for a long time. Just like when you said, I was like, man, I don't want to end this.
I know. Dude, there's some people you get on here, you're like, God, I mean, because even before we get on, we were talking about for 30 minutes before we started recording this.
Non-stop.
You know what I mean?
It's good.
So
I like those kind of people.
I would love to have you back on, man, and talk about something else. Let's talk. You know what? Next time you come on, let's talk about history.
Let's go.
Okay.
Choose your time.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, we got to wrap it. You have a meeting to get to, so we'll do this later. But everyone, thank you for tuning in around the Rotary, and thank you, Jeff, for your time and just talking to us. And reach out to him on LinkedIn and connect with him. Thanks, and that's kind of it.
All right, man. Well, thank you.
All right,
let's do it again.
We'll talk to you soon.